Okay, hi guys. I'm actually at work right now, but I don't have a lot of customers. So if I do have a customer, I'm just gonna pause my video. I have to do a third video because I completely forgot to mention a whole bunch of things to you guys. It just like popped into me a couple days later when I did part 1 and part 2. So I work in a bowling alley, by the way, so you're gonna hear the bowling balls hit the pins. Anyways, basically, I totally forgot to mention to you guys that you should check your bird's vent. The vent is basically the butthole. So, okay, sorry. The vent is basically the butthole. So you're gonna have to check that. You don't want any poop stuck to it. You want it to be clean. A healthy bird has a clean butthole, basically. If there's any feces stuck to it or it's really matted underneath, it isn't just the fact that they're maybe not grooming down there, but it's also maybe that they have diarrhea, so you have to watch that. So again, you're gonna have to restrain your bird, and you're gonna have to check the vent. Another thing to mention is poop. So you're gonna want there's 3 parts of the poop. There's the feces, the urates, and the urine. The urates is the white part, the feces is the green part, and the urine is the liquid. Okay, sorry, my coworker just gave me food. So basically, yeah, mentioning the poop. If you notice, it should, first of all, when it comes out of them, it should all be solid. The poop should be like in a tubular form. If you notice that every time they're pooping and it comes out like pea soup, it's like mushy, 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 and there's no form to the green poop, that's not good. It's diarrhea. You have to understand that sometimes they have really liquidy poop, so a lot of urine is gonna come out, and now it might look like diarrhea to some people, but it's not diarrhea. It's basically, if the feces is still intact, it still has a tube form, but there's a lot of urine. It just means they consumed a lot of water or they're nervous. You also want to make sure that the urate, the white part, is white. The urine should be clear, or on a paper towel it'll soak up yellow because it is pee. The feces should be green. Any abnormal coloring from what it usually does is not too good. You don't want it to go really, really dark. Usually if they eat pellets, it might be like a light brown or a lighter green. If they just had a red pepper, they'll poop out, it'll look red, but it should only be for a temporary amount of time. It shouldn't be like for a couple of days, and they don't even have pepper, and they're pooping out red, or they're pooping out like an orange, and they haven't had any food that would match that color. That's not good. You're probably gonna wanna go see a vet for that. Yeah, so I have a few things to mention. I might actually do another video. They're really, really good at hiding illnesses, so you need to understand that even if your bird might look okay, they're prey animals. They get eaten by predators, so they really like to hide their illnesses. You have to be vigilant, so any little abnormal behavior that they don't usually do, you might want to question it. The breathing, sometimes what I like to do is I'll hold my bird up next to my ear, and I'll put their chest on my ear, and sometimes I like to listen to their breathing. It should be clear. If it comes out and it's really raspy, like you can really hear like a panting, not a panting, but like a wheeze, that's not good. Also, when they're sitting down on a perch, the tail should not be bobbing every time they breathe, okay? That's not good either. They shouldn't have their mouth open, gasping for air, like, you know, it should be closed. Normal breathing every time they take a breath. The tail should just remain straight. If it's like bobbing every time, they're having difficulty breathing. So I would go to your avian vet. The powder down, I know I mentioned that in the other video, but I maybe wasn't, I didn't fully talk about it, how I wanted to. Basically, the beak with the powder down, it's gonna look smooth. So the ridge of the beak going down, it's gonna like go straight across like that. If they're lacking some powder down, you might see it like actually get thin. So you'll see a clear ridge going down, and then it'll like point like this. You actually want it more like unison round. That's usually what the powder down does, is it makes a good like roundness. If it's really, really thin in the middle, it's probably maybe because they're lacking some powder down. I know I mentioned the feet, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it clearly. If your bird's feet are like super, super, super pink, and you can't see the little scales, with the powder down you'll see like little scales. If you can't see that, it's like if you wet the foot and the foot gets wet and it's like super, super smooth, that's not good. They're not producing enough powder down. Another thing too, I mentioned the wing bar, but basically if there's not enough powder down, on a normal gray, the coloring of the gray is going to go really, really dark. So the powder down was kind of going to produce like a coating over it, and it's going to make the gray lighter. It's going to make the gray lighter. On a yellow bird, it's going to make the yellow lighter, so the yellow won't be as intense. So the powder down kind of like keeps the coloring from like really, really popping out like super strong. So that you have to watch out as well. Last thing I wanted to mention is sometimes their limbs might accidentally get like wrapped with hair or a fiber, and if it stops the circulation of the foot can go black. Basically, that's a medical emergency. If the limb starts going black, it can die, and a dead limb can turn gangrene, and gangrene in the blood, the infection in the blood, it can kill them. So you have to watch out for that. If you ever notice your bird like really picking at its foot or picking even at its wing, there might be a fiber or hair that wraps around it and is stopping the circulation of the blood. Just ultimately, guys, try and be really vigilant of your bird and what they do. Any more strange behavior than normal. So yeah, that's my third video. I think I mentioned everything I wanted to mention. Thanks, guys.